Oh my god. 400 comments. 417 comments. Hello everyone, this is CM Kozeman. It looks like I've bitten off more than I could chew, but mama didn't raise no quitter. So in a series of God knows how many 1-hour videos, I'm gonna answer all the 400 odd comments I have received at my open question time video. So we don't have much time to waste. So I'm just gonna go straight ahead. It will really help if you play this video back at twice the speed or 1.75 speed. It makes me sound like a cooler guy and much more easy to listen to. And of course, it will also really help if you support me on Patreon. Okay, bam, here we go. Questions. There's 417 comments as of 11th of August 2021, and I will unfortunately not be able to answer questions that will come in after this, but don't worry, somewhere down the year we will do another open question time. So here we go. Yayo Elias Giron says, will you ever do a book of your view on pure mythological creatures as scientifically plausible animals, such as griffins, dragons, trolls, etc.? I would love to know. Greetings from Mexico. Hello to Mexico, my friend. Unfortunately, such a plan is not in the works. Because, I mean, nobody take any offense from this, but I think all those like stock mythological creatures, dragons especially, they're a bit boring. And studies about their historical heritage or what has been written about them in the past years and past centuries is far more interesting. In fact, there's a book about this. It's by Luis Borges, The Book of Imaginary Creatures. And I think the study of their history in literature is way more exciting compared to a scientifically plausible retake. So here we go. Another question. Stego Tyranno Force 420. 420, man. Stego 420. Okay, what do you think about your Turkish heritage? I'm reasonably proud about it. I don't see anything bad about it. And, you know, if I came from Turkey, then Turkey mustn't be such a bad place. Another question by Stego Tyranno 420. What's your favorite dinosaur? I think I love sauropods the best because you can kind of picture the smaller theropods like a big bird, but sauropods, we don't even know what their faces are like, despite having complete skulls. And they were gigantic. They were like 30-meter long sauropods. How they lived, how they moved will forever remain a mystery, despite having complete skeletons. So sauropods are my favorite dinosaurs. Dogs or cats? Cats or very fat, old and slow type of dogs. Favorite food? I like pasta of all sorts. I could tunnel my way into a substrate made entirely out of pasta products and live that way. Things you don't like? Well, I mean, I share many views with many people on that matter, but why go into them? I don't like mosquitoes, they keep me up at night. I like history, I love history. The more you read history, the more fiction or even science fiction and fantasy seems pale in comparison. Favorite prehistoric animals in general? Maybe sauropods again. Why do you interact with fans unlike others? This is Stego Tyranno again. Not that I'm complaining, I really like to talk with the author of my favorite books. I'm curious. Well, growing up, I had a lot of favorite artists and authors, and I just treat my followers and fans like I expected my favorite artists to treat me. I guess it's only fair. Of course, in the future, if I get even more famous, then it will be hard to keep up with everyone, but as of now, I try to do my best. Blah, 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 blah. What again? What do you think is the best art piece you made? The best art piece I made is the one that's just coming up. You know, when I produce something, sometimes for a week or two, I feel really good about it. I wake up at night and look at it. Then after a month or so, it gets boring. And after a year or so, it begins to hurt me, like physically hurt me. The little mistakes that I see begins to physically hurt me. So the best artwork is the one that's right around the corner all the time. And once again, Stego Tirano asks, into linguistics? A little, but not so much. I mean, it will remain to be seen. I like bizarre extinct Anatolian languages. They are like unknown or very little known languages from Anatolia, with cool names such as Sidetic or Pisidian, you know, and I would like to learn more about them. I mean, there are parts of the world like Papua New Guinea that are full of amazing languages, but somehow they feel a bit so wild as to be incomprehensible. But of course, that's mainly due to my ignorance, I guess. Okay, more questions. Catelia Lumbatara says, plot twist, this guy is the remaining human or the species that was wiped out 1 billion years ago. This is an all tomorrow's question or comment, and I made it very clear I wasn't going to answer them, but thank you, you know, I guess I am the 1 billion year narrator, maybe. Again, Catelia says, make part 2 of the tomorrow thingy. Okay. Chicken Man says, except for all tomorrow's lol. Well, lol. Lol surprise! Brooker House says, you are the super best. Thank you, Brooker. Hey, I love you so much. Thank you for making such an amazing series. Thanks, Brooker. I mean, it's all thanks to people who leave comments such as this one. You know, that's my bread and butter. Of course, my bread and butter is also money. So if you donate to me on Patreon, that will also help. But really, thank you. I mean, it really means a lot to elicit such responses from my fans. Okay. Josh Dawes says, have you ever considered making a speculative evolution of cephalopods? Cephalopods are squids, octopus, and the like. I mean, once when I was in high school, I imagined a species of giant squid whose back section had extended into an eel-like form. So it was like a eel squid that could move backwards and forwards in coral reefs. And it was about 3 meters long. So there was one. I also imagined a lot of biological guns derived from cuttlefish. You know, these animals move by squirting jets of water. So if you adapt that jet to shoot a heavy object, you could have a biological like gun that works, or harpoon gun that works underwater. And I integrated this idea into All Tomorrows. If you read the book, you will know, but we're not going to talk about All Tomorrows. Merlin Cater says, would you consider bringing out a physical copy of your book, Decade? I love your surreal painting style. Okay. And I think this book contains some of your best works. Why, thank you, man. But okay, so among other things, I'm also a surreal artist. If you go to www.cmkozeman and just click the art menu, you'll see my surreal paintings, and you'll be able to download the collection book called Decade, which contains hundreds of my surreal paintings. And I actually tried to have this book published as a physical book. It failed because of 2 reasons. One, every week I produce 4 or 5 surreal paintings. So the book continuously expands, you know. And a print book just can't keep up with the pace. Second reason is cost. The book has nearly 600 pages. It is sized A3, so like something like 29 by 30 centimeters or something like that. It's a huge book. And to publish a color book with that many pages, you know, the retail price would have to be something like $300 the least. So there's no way I could like make this project financially viable. Maybe when I'm older, there will be a book of best paintings and it will be like 300 pages or something. but you will have to make do with the digital edition. But thanks, Marilyn, for looking into that book. I didn't know many people were interested in my surreal art, so thank you. Okay, another old tomorrow's question by Cool Dude. Sorry, we are skipping. Based Mario asked another old tomorrow's question. Not Zed. Skipping. Okay, Richard Savolanyan, I think a Finnish guy, says, have you considered one day returning to a world-building project with Simon Royd about the world of Dinosauroids? Maybe a complete story with a comic book format, or expand upon the lore and cultures of tribes. Okay, so if you go to my website, www.cmcosman.com, and if you go to Projects and Miscellanea, there's a section there about dinosauroids. What would happen if dinosaurs didn't get extinct and became an intelligent species, alongside a variety of other strange post-dinosaurs and mammals? Simon Roy is my really close friend. He's a great Canadian cartoonist, and he's far more skilled than I could ever be in depicting these things. In fact, if you go to my website, 90% of the artwork on that page is by Simon Roy. So please visit Simon Roy's website and find him on Patreon and support him too. If you like the Dinosauroids, support Simon Roy. And actually, okay, so this project that you see on my website is the ashes from the bonfire Simon and I had, in which we actually planned to have a physical book. It would have been an illustrated young adults book about this one dinosauroid who gets captured by slave-keeping dinosauroids, and they travel all around the Mediterranean world, and he sees all these animals and cultures. Unfortunately, this project languished. Both Simon and I had other engagements, but in between 2019 and 2020, I collected all the sketches and conceptual notes we made and kind of bashed them into this semi-project that you see on my website. I think it's better this way. If we made a book, then you'd have to make characters, follow their stories, while we were just enjoying the world building, man. And I think this format and this level of resolution is good enough for now. Okay, Blamo G says, favorite animal? Wow. Hard question. I'll tell you one of my favorite animals, the tiger beetle. It's a running beetle with huge eyes. It's like a Lamborghini that eats people, but only smaller. I love them. But I like and I love a lot of animals, so this is a really hard question to answer. Okay, Mr. Nutcracker says, what are your personal inspirations? Who are the other authors you would look towards when developing a new project? Okay, this is a nice question. There are authors and artists out there compared to whom I'm a mere speck. I'm nothing. I'm a maggot. If you look at people like Jack Vance, just Google these names. Jack Vance, Voyage to Arcturus by David Lindsay, Eric Hobsbawm, the historian, Larry Niven, some of his books, not all. Also like people like Patrick Leigh Fermor. He was a travel writer, a Brit who fought on Crete as part of the Greek resistance against the Germans. And he was a very educated scholar of the ancient world, to boot. And he writes real-life stories mostly about Greece in the 1920s, and real-life travelogues. And that's like light years beyond the best science fiction. But these days I'm really also enjoying the works of H.P. Lovecraft and his companions. I mean, he's a problematic author, but they're also, the stories themselves are not really inspiring. But if you read the biography of Lovecraft and his world, America in the 1920s, and if you know about his character flows and how all of these kind of end up rising to the surface in the narrative of his weird stories, it's just really inspiring in a historic way, not in a dark fiction sort of way. So these are just a few of my inspirations. Let me look at my library. It's right behind me. I mean, there are some. Freya Stark is another British traveler, a lady. Her writing is sometimes a bit thick, but man, I mean, you read those and you said, if this is English, then what am I trying to write in? It's amazing. I mean, read a lot of historic memoirs and travelogues. That's, I think, where the money is at, so to speak. Okay. Forever Night says, what are your favorite movies and games that features very in-depth creatures and biology? I don't know much about movies. Avatar had good creature design, but the story wasn't too bad either. Nothing about that movie was too bad, but it's bizarrely unremarkable. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it was too much. I don't know. But Avatar was good. Also, I think the original Alien series, Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3, there was a really consistent creature design and world building in those movies, in those 3 movies. I'm not talking about any of the later bad Prometheus films or anything. But Aliens, and Alien 3, there are some really good creature design and speculative evolution. Especially if you consider Aliens and Alien, like, we're talking about 1970s. Before these films, alien creatures in movies were like rubber suits and just bizarre things that existed to be killed. And everybody knew about this. Everybody went along with it. The audience knew about it. The producers knew about it. Alien, Ridley Scott's Alien, was the first film in which the creature had a life cycle. And it was a mystery for us to solve. Aliens took this one step further and introduced the queen alien. Of course, now, in every science fiction sequel, there's like a big badass alien who's like the mother of all the small aliens, and it's kind of become boring. But this was the first time, and it was really inspiring and such an eye-opener for everyone who watched these films. About computer games, I don't know, I haven't played computer games in a long time. There was a 1990s LucasArts adventure game called The Dig, which was set in an alien world, and I remember that game had a really well-designed world. Everything was consistent, and you felt like you were there, and you could imagine the things around the corner. Also, there was a 1990s Star Trek game, Star Trek The Next Generation. It was abbreviated as STTNG, and in this game, you had this star map of thousands of planets. It was all procedurally generated. You could go to any planet you wanted. You couldn't do much there, but just that ability to go to any planet you wanted, and you look at this map, there's thousands and tens of thousands of planets, and you could visit them all. You couldn't do much, but it was a like procedurally generative programming trick, you know? But it felt so eye-opening, and it was, I mean, I would visit all these procedurally generated planets instead of playing along with the main story of the game, and it felt, wow, I was really exploring the galaxy. Of course, back then I didn't even have the internet. I mean, that's what kind of a dinosaur I am, so. Okay, Zeno says, what would a human look like in All Todays? All Todays is a part of my book with John Conway called All Yesterdays, in which we imagined dinosaurs in a new perspective, and it had a section in which we imagined present-day animals with the same mistakes we see in paleo art. So everything is scary and unnecessarily violent. So in that setting, a human would look like one of those allegories of death in medieval paintings, post-medieval. Like all skeletonized, vicious, extremely thin. So that's what it would look like, I think. Zeno asks, what do you think about a speculative Spinosaurus for all yesterdays? This has been done by some other people and it's amazing. Google Spinosaurus. Instead of Spinosaurus, it's S-P-I-N-O-F-A-A, Urus. And they made a kind of bizarre seal-like Spinosaurus with a trunk and everything. It's really beautiful. And you could almost believe it. And then he asks, what inspired you to do all these paleontology stuff? I think it was a calling. I mean, ever since I was a child, I was drawn to strange creatures and dinosaurs. It's one of the few things in life I can't explain. The other being, why is the sun the same size as the goddamn moon? It's really maddening. But anyways, it was in my soul, I guess. That's just how I rolled. Okay, Riley G 2003 asks, are you planning on creating any new works in the foreseeable future? Also, where can we go to see the Q&A about All Tomorrows? I love it, but I can't find any further information or any books. Okay. All Tomorrows, if I answered All Tomorrow's questions, I would have to put all other parts of my life on hold. So, nothing about All Tomorrows anymore. Sorry guys, let it stay a mystery. But about future works, I also don't comment about it, principally because I'm afraid to jinx it. There have been times in my life where I was like, yeah, I'm working on this book or something. And then every time the book project fell through or I languished. So, not gonna touch it, you know. Let it be a surprise to you all. Says, thoughts on Serena made by Sheeter888. Okay, so Sheeter888 and Serena, they are like Sheeter, he or she is a god or a goddess of speculative evolution. He or she has a skill that I could only dream to match, both in terms of artwork and in terms of biomechanical creativity. Really, I mean, I would have those printouts of his projects and worship them. They're that good. And Serena is a project about the evolution of life in a world seeded only by basic insects and canaries. And man, those birds, let me tell you, they get around. It's an amazing project. It's far better than anything I've done, in my humble opinion. So go look it up. Serena. Serina. Okay. Nova says, have you got any advice for people looking to get into writing speculative zoology? I answered these questions on previous videos, so please look there. Suspicious Starako says, if the dinosaurs kept going after the major extinction, do you think they would evolve sentience? Probably. But I think, you know what? Every animal is sentient. Sentience is pretty common, I think. If you look at animals, if you look at birds, even if you look at insects, they are self-aware. They feel the same things we do. Maybe they can't visualize things to the same extent, but I think almost all life forms are sentient. But of course, this question is asked in reference to a civilization like ours, I guess. Yeah, I think they would evolve sentience, but would it mean cars and skyscrapers? I don't know. Maybe they would just live on big nests and not be interested in mining metal or something. Life develops in strange ways. Weil says, where do you live, though? The location of the Cosmonaite homeworld is one of the most closely guarded secrets in the universe. Tashio Komin says, can you make Ottoman Empire alternative history? Maybe I could. I mean, most alternative histories, Ottoman Empire included, involve that political entity winning for centuries. And, you have things like Rome never falls, so everywhere is Rome. Or like Carthage never falls, so everywhere is Carthage. The South never loses, so everywhere is South. God, that's an awful... Or like even the more predictable racist spin-offs, such as A World Where Nazi Germany Never Lost the War or stuff like that. I think those are a bit boring. Even in alternative history communities, they are referred to as like German wank or Rome wank or something. I mean, one story idea I had about the Ottoman history was, what if a federation of 10 or 15 aliens visited Earth, but according to their societal rules, these aliens, if they stay in space, they are like highly technological, but on planets, they never want to advance technology beyond a crude version of steam power. And this is a imperative directive they have in order not to ruin planets' ecologies. So they arrive at Earth right around the time of the Ottoman siege of Vienna. And they ally themselves with the dominant world power of the time. Hey, which happens to be the Ottoman Empire. And so now we have this strange Earth in which you have communities of humans and aliens, and also humans of different religions and nations. Like in any Ottoman city in this world, which is in any world city, you have Muslims, Christians, Greeks, Armenians, and others like Kdapterists or Salteriun or all these aliens. And then the humans also sometimes adopt alien religions, and the aliens also sometimes convert to human religions. So it's like an insane quilt of cultures, species, religions. They're all ruled over by the Ottomans, of course, as long as they pay their taxes. So it was this maddening world. But I didn't know where to go with this, so it only lives rent-free in my head. But if you wanted to develop this concept, go for it, man. Okay, Scene Eggley says, the only thing I need in my life are snake people plushies. This is an all tomorrow's comment, but thank you. I wish I had 5 people working for me for merchandising. We could make a killing, but it's only me manning the fort. Okay. Grit Phoenix Saurus Rex asks, question, so have your view on dinosaurs changed after new evidence and papers? My view on dinosaurs always keeps changing. I mean, my view is still similar to the things I expressed in all yesterdays, but I don't know. In certain details, I mean, maybe I think some of the old, in brackets, reptilian stereotypes could have been true. I mean, I see no reason why some sauropods could not be slow aquatic animals. Hippopotami are mammals. They are slow-moving aquatic animals that would totally kill you if they get the chance. But, maybe dinosaurs are warm-blooded, there's no doubt about it. But not all warm-blooded animals have to be crazy active all the time, especially if they were big. Okay. Sloan says, I thought you were some old dude who's messed up in the head. Thanks, man. I take this as a compliment. Stuff Explained asks, when is Cryptozoological Volume 2 coming out? Has work on the book started already? I think I answered this question before. Cryptozoological was written mostly by Darren Naish. I was just on board as like the concept guy, and I did some of the illustrations. Okay, when John Conway, Darren Naish and I were making Cryptozoological, we had a difference of opinions. They wanted the book in 2 volumes. This was pricing decision mostly because we were publishing through Lulu.com, and Lulu makes things really expensive. So they said if we make 2 cheaper books, but all the assets were ready. All the artwork was ready. In fact, to this day, John Conway and I have unseen Cryptozoological art for Volume 2. We made Volume 1. It was a good book. But then all of us had other projects or other life engagements. So writing Volume 2 languished. I mean, if I had any fault in this, I apologize. So it looks like the Volume 2 will forever remain a cryptid. But man, if you could see those pictures John Conway and I cooked up for Volume 2, well, you'll just have to live without seeing them, I think. YouTube Joseph WM asks an all tomorrow's question, which sadly goes unanswered. Sink or Bitches XD. I seriously hope you make another book like All Tomorrow's Heart. Thank you. Ed Dragon 24, he's a Turkish fan, I guess, asks in Turkish, are you planning to get your books translated into Turkish? Not me. If someone wants to do it as a fan project, go for it. But all sci-fi speculative evolutions fans around the world have a basic understanding of English. We have Chinese people, Indonesian people, Russian people, Spanish people, Turkish people too. We all know English. So, if you want, go for it. Tiger Cat. Oh wait, another question. The Superkaiser 6 says, have you ever considered working as a concept artist or creature designer for movies, television, or video games? I did actually. This was my dream for a long time. As recently as 2017, I was like writing to the producers of Rick and Morty, hoping to design crazy aliens for them. But then I realized I'm in this for my own heart's content. And I know I wouldn't be really happy continuously updating or getting revisions of my creatures for somebody else's vision. Of course, if tomorrow Disney or Netflix knocked on my door, says, hey CM Kozman, we want you to design aliens for the next movie, I'd say yes, sir. But especially for games, I don't want to be subservient to another vision. I know first-hand or second-hand, I know of accounts in which bullying, sexism, mobbing is rife in the video game sector. Also in most other creative sectors too. So if I have to offer my creative skills for sale, it would have to be on a more humane, personal term. Okay. Tiger Cat says, snake people supremacy, agreed. A lot of people love the snake people from All Tomorrows because I think they're living the ideal life for 2021. They always stay indoors, listen to music, and just chill. And you know what? Being able to stay at home and just chill has become the ultimate human ambition. Just give me a room. Tells a lot about the state of our world, doesn't it? In the past, it was like, I guess it would be nice if I could have a house and a family and 2 cars and have 2 holidays per year. Then slowly, the ultimate ambition of people in developed societies became, well, I guess I could do without kids. It's just too hard. Then it was like, yeah, I guess I'll never have a house of my own, but renting is fine, I guess. And now, in this day and age, just give me a fucking room, man. Just give me a fucking room and a fiber optic connection. Man, it's sad, man. But under these circumstances, yeah, snake people are living the life. Okay. Pepito White says, hello CM Kozaman. Why do you haven't drawn a single vegetal life form for your Snaiad world? That would be amazing to see in-depth ecosystems and biomes. Please. Okay. Snaiad is coming up as a book, and this book will have all those biomes and vegetables and plant life in it. If you want to know more about Snaiad and see snapshots from the upcoming book, just support me on Patreon. Carlos Lopez says, will there be a part 2 of the Cryptozoological? I answered this question. By the way, I'm a huge fan of your works, and I'm extremely happy that I found out you have a YouTube channel. Thanks, man. Buena Madeira asks, aliens in DMT are real? Maybe. If you don't know, DMT is a psychoactive drug, which I in no way condone. This is a legit channel. Don't do drugs, they're bad. So people who take DMT or other similar things like ayahuasca claim to report these consistent entities, and there's a name for them. They're called machine elves. They look nothing like machines or elves. They look like these scintillating, bizarre, tiny creatures with horns, and like they seem to be made out of fractal rays of light. And this seems to be a common experience to many people who use DMT. They claim. I think this is more likely to be the triggering of a... Okay, so our brain is hardwired to recognize certain things from the briefest of hints. Eyes, faces, human forms, certain animals like snakes or insects. We are hardwired to recognize these. And in fact, when we look at the world, it's like the tagging system or hashtags. Our brain does most of the seeing. Like if we see like something even vaguely similar to a snake, our brain goes hashtag snake and we react. So these DMT elves are probably the result of the drug triggering the hashtag recognition reflex in your brain for the human form. But it's being triggered on nothing. So it appears as like this fantastic scintillating being. So we see these things. I think it's the reflex triggering, but I might be wrong. Jonas C asks, is there a chance that the concept of coup... Sorry man, no all tomorrows. Horror Games TV says, what would you recommend for designing alien life forms and environments? Greetings from Armenia. Your work is awesome. Hello, my friend. I'm really happy you reached out to me. I have fans from all over the world, and the more the merrier. I answered the question about recommendations for alien life design in other videos in this channel, so please consult it. And you know, I hope the animosity between our governments ends one day and I could visit where Yerevan. Anyways, Muscle Man asks, how did you learn to draw? Do you have any tips? Only tip is just to keep at it, man. Just keep plugging at it. It's like turning on the faucet in a undeveloped country. First, rust and mud comes out, but slowly over time it clears up. So, my only advice, just keep at it. And like even now, my own drawings, I hate them after a while. So it's normal to be unsatisfied. But when you are drawing, don't try to imitate things that have been done by other artists. It's like arranging a garden. Like, make something which is consistent and which satisfies you for the time being. And never stop. Customer Care Skeleton says, where can I go buy physical copies of the books you have written? Go to cmcozeman.com, click the books button, and they're all there. Ryan One on Selen asks, how's your day been doing? Thanks, man. This is the favorite question. This is the favorite type of question. Thank you so much. I just woke up. My wife is working. I'm working. We just had breakfast. I'm enjoying a cup of Nescafe. My day is pretty similar to most other people's. Later in the day, I will go to downtown and take care of some errands there. And in the evening, we will watch Treme, the TV series by the same genius guys who made The Wire. Just fall asleep. So yeah. Elia Vega asks, what religion faith are you? Thumbs up from a big fan of yours, thank you. The nature of the Cosmonaite belief is one of the most closely guarded secrets in the known universe. I hope you would appreciate, but thank you. Ike Bones asks, what do you think the future of humanity entails? Good question. I think another dark age is around the corner being 4 to 5 centuries. We will lose a lot of our material trappings. Like, we will no longer be able to have electricity everywhere or be able to fly everywhere. Some sort of industrial civilization will remain, and it will probably be like in the 1920s. I mean, there will still be gasoline engines and stuff, but not everyone will be able to use them, and the technological infrastructure needed to support them will decay a bit. That's what happened in when the Roman Empire ended. You know, many people say, oh, Rome ended, it was a loss for civilization. We will all be living in space cities if it hadn't been for the fall of Rome. But you know, man, F Rome. I mean, goddamn, seriously. Most of you don't realize that civilizations don't fall because people grow corrupt or whatever. Or because barbarians invade. This is a lot of YouTube right-wingers are this way, like, degeneracy. If Rome falls. And they pepper their conversations with like, it was Catullus who said, I just want to. Most people don't realize that the principal reason civilizations fall is because most people living in them grow freaking tired about them. I mean, Roman civilization was highly developed, but guess what? They also had slavery. It took us 3 centuries of quote-unquote dark ages for people to get rid of this notion of slavery. And the fall of Rome happened incrementally. People were just sick of it. If you look at actually the writings of the earliest Christians, they have these really well-structured arguments against logic. And they say things like, I'm wildly paraphrasing, they say things like, logic is an enemy of belief, you just have to believe, you have to reject logic, you have to reject reason. There's a huge attack on reason. If you look at them, if you look at these arguments for a minute, you feel like degenerates. Rome fell. If it hadn't been for you, it would have been, we would all be living on Mars. Yeah, but you'd be living on Mars and keeping freaking slaves. The attack on reason is actually a perfectly valid attack against what seems normal at that day. You know, in Roman age, the massive inequality they had was normal, was just logical, was just business, just life, man. Grin and bear it. But maybe it got unbearable. So, I think we're going to lose a lot of material progress in the next 5 centuries. As Eric Hobsbawm, the historian, says, a dramatic reduction in the world's population is unlikely but not impossible. But I think we will come out of it stronger. It's like developing immunity in a way. And I think after that dark age, people were like, could you believe it that people measured their worth of life in terms of efficiency, in terms of money? I mean, we got all this iZoomaboom pieces of shit, technology, innovation, but we are neck deep in as grievous an error of life as the Romans had been. We measure lives by utility. Even when people make art, they express it in terms of, yeah, these dinosaur pictures could help kids receive education. Why? Why does everything have to be that freaking utilitarian? So the next dark age, I hope, is going to help us get rid of this fallacy. And you know what? Sometimes it takes a dark age to scrape out this logical evil that permeates the very essence of the civilization that sustains us. So there, my ideas about the future of humanity. Okay. What was your favorite book to write? I think all of them. I actually write a lot of books about proper history. And there was one I wrote in 2018. It was about the Jewish community of Bodrum. This is like a proper Judaic history book. I did interviews with people. I went to libraries and did research and just, wrote quotes and sources and indexes and all that. It was a really nice book. It's on my website. Go find it out. And I remember my wife and I, we went to this place, Bodrum, in the winter. It's raining out there. My wife was writing code, and I was writing my book. We were both having cups of coffee in a small hotel in the winter, watching a rainstorm over the sea. I think that was one of my best moments. But I think, like, even with All Tomorrows, I actually don't like All Tomorrows too much. But thank you for loving it. But I wrote that book as a 19-year-old, mostly on summer holidays. I would swim, get out of the sea, paint a little, write a little, hop, back to the sea again. Then get out, have a hamburger. Then, I don't know, go to the summer disco, meet some people. Never forget, your everyday life is the most fantastic and the best thing about your life. Unless there's a tragedy. I hope you're all doing alright. Taser Tag asks, do you like chocolate cake? A little, but not too much. It's suffocating. I like chocolate in wafers, like crunchy wafers. or things like Snickers and Twix. I don't even like bar chocolate that much. Eric says, opinions on the new Spinosaurus? I might need to do an entire video about that. The people who came up with the quadrupedal version of Spinosaurus, they are notorious in the paleontological community for bullying, extreme aggrandization of their work. I mean, where did you ever hear of dry ice being used as a scientific promotional material? Well, these guys did. So these guys, their paleontology is solid. Well, as much as plywood is solid, I guess. But everyone in the paleo community knows that if they make a discovery, they PR the shit out of it to the degree of making fallacious comments. They just barely skim the edge of that membrane. I'm the same guy named a creature called Aerosteon. Wait, let me Google that actually. Okay, just a second. Aerosteon is a predatory dinosaur discovered with evidences of air sacs in their body. And of course, this guy, Mr. Serena, published it or popularized it as the first dinosaur with the evidence of air sacs. But guess what? It wasn't the first dinosaur. I mean, they really have this slimy PR machine, which is very efficient, but sometimes to the point of overshadowing truth. So the quadrupedal Spinosaurus is actually a composite. The short arms the short legs come from another specimen, and they like slimily grasped onto this bit to make it like a croc dinosaur and make it more sensational. I personally think it was still bipedal, but a bit like a loon or a cormorant. I think there's a good chance it was mostly aquatic. So Sereno and team aren't wrong there. But Sereno, I guess we could talk about him another time. Okay. Ness Godzilla. If you're named after the Ness Godzilla Creepypasta, I salute you, sir. Asks, hello, Cosman. I have 3 questions. 1. What is your favorite dinosaurs? I answered this. 2. What's your favorite song? Many. What's your favorite all yesterday's drawing you made? It's the sexually confused Stegosaurus. I really like that drawing. Milk Official asks, don't have a question, but I like your accent. Oh, wait, never mind. I guess I do have a question, Mr. CM Cosman. You sound Southern Eastern European. Whereabouts are you from, my friend? Well, thank you for liking this strange accent. I could twist it in a lot of ways. Because I grew up reading more than speaking English, I have evolved this strange accent with sharp corners and sibilant sounds. And every now and then I could break it into this erudite sounding manner. But I'm really happy with it. You know, where I live, there are these idiots who pay hundreds of dollars for an accent coach. Yet if you want to have a conversation with them, they can't put 2 words together. They're really pitiful people. I always say, you know, speak English in your own ways. Nobody's gonna judge you. It's all about getting ideas across. And if you say, I'm Southeastern European, you're not too far off the mark. I live and work in the old world. Okay. Dr. Mazyaka asks, question, have any of the Snaiad clades from the original website have been reimagined or omitted? I mean, this is kind of a surprise, but I'm reimagining everything. Some of them are coming through almost 100% the same. Some of them, such as the jet-propelled whale creatures, are being seriously reimagined. And I'm adding a lot of new clades, hundreds more. So visit me on Patreon to see more. Green Spy Guy, how do you make a living? I actually earn the bread and butter of my income by working for PR and advertising companies. I'm a copywriter and an editor due to my rare and mysterious English skills, which are in high demand in the strange place that I live in. Zardim, what's your favorite animal? A lot of them. I answered this question before. Okay. Chris Zulas, do you enjoy playing tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons and others? Unfortunately, I never ventured into this world. For some reason, it never clicked. For some reason, I never got into role-playing. I liked the monstrous manuals they had for Dungeons and Dragons, which was all these weird creatures. But to this day, I can never get into the headspace of those games. So sorry. Milan, how did they destroy the coup? Please tell me. It's a secret. It will be revealed when I write All Tomorrows again. Oscar Sheehy asks, posted this question less than an hour ago, blah blah blah. I would love to hear some of your ideas about Isaac Arthurs and his views on the future. At first, he might seem like another Ray Kurzweil-style futurist, but he is, at least in my opinion, much more realistic and yet very optimistic. I would still love to hear your take on his ideas, as he has a YouTube channel with well over 300 videos and nearly 650,000 subs to check out. I've never heard of Isaac Arthur. Let me Google him. Isaac Arthur. Communication. YouTuber and a futurist. Okay, in my opinion, with all the respect, if someone defines himself or herself as a futurist, it's always a red flag. Advanced civilizations. I really have to look further into his work. I don't know. I think it's better if I just say my opinion on this matter. The things spoken about by futurists may be real, such as building space elevators or turning stars into shells. Certainly they are very useful science fiction concepts and really good to think about it. They make people... It's like eating candy. When you think about this sorts of speculative achievements, you feel good because it's like an optimistic future. If in your philosophical outlook, building structures is a good thing, of course. But when you get down to the nuts and bolts of this stuff, never pans out this way. To build a space elevator, you need materials as hard as diamonds, mined at massive qualities, to such a degree that it would scour the earth. Same thing with AI. Computers are certainly really good at breaking tasks down into simpler tasks and performing them really rapidly. And guess what? A lot of things about art, or things which we previously imagined as more human and spiritual, are actually physical tasks. Like making a Van Gogh style painting, it's a physical task. You measure color values, adjust brush size, adjust densities. Now, a computer, a so-called AI, can make Van Gogh style artworks really fast. Or you got even these new AIs, which you say, draw me a balloon in a disco, and they do it. This doesn't mean that the so-called AIs are super advanced. It just means that such tasks are actually easier than they sound. But to the best of my knowledge, artificial intelligence can never crack the secret of impetus. Whoop, it's my timer. Oh, it's been an hour. Okay, let me finish my thoughts, then I'm gonna call it a day. Like, AI can never get initiative of its own. It can do wonderful things. It can help us spot tumors or change spoken word into a painting. It's still a tool. And it's never going to be the master. So futurism, in my opinion, is like this. Like, the great ideas, they seem really intoxicating and beautiful and optimistic. But when you get to the actual task of creating the damn things, you just can't. And also, in a side avenue of my thoughts, I think futurism also reveals a really toxic part of our philosophical outlook at this part of time, let's say. Why should it be optimism to imagine bigger machines? Faster machines, machines in space. I mean, these things don't make people happy, or they don't make lives better. They probably make the construction and logistics of cargo or sending things from point A to point B much more efficient. But that's not happiness, as we are beginning to learn in this day and age. That's not even good. To build a space elevator or to successfully run a Mars colony, you will also have to invent social structures that are so rigid and so merciless that they will amount to just evil slavery at the end. Never forget, all technical inventions also have social inventions behind them. For example, the atomic bomb. It was not only about refining plutonium or like managing how radiation works. To build an atomic bomb, you also need to have another technology. The name of that technology is the classified top secret military industrial state complex. And this is not like a political thing to say. You could not build an atomic bomb without developing these secret programs that have enormous resources that are answerable to nobody. And they have extreme punishments at their disposal. If you revealed atomic secrets, you are executed. Without building such a society, such societal laws, rules, you could not have an atomic bomb. You could not have atomic energy. So never forget that all these technical inventions will also introduce social and legal inventions into our lives. Now, Isaac Arthur likes to talk about post-scarcity, transhumanism, megastructures. What kind of legal framework do you have to have a megastructure going or a Mars colony going? I mean, to me, these sound like a list of demons waiting to be unleashed. And when those social and legal inventions get introduced, yeah, they produce the atomic bomb or the limited liability company, but they also have serious social side effects, which at the current day and age create more problems than they solve. So there. Okay. Oh, one more question. Butterhorse says, how many do you have? To this I answer, I have millions. Get the reference? If you get the reference, write it in the comments. And this is chapter 1 of the God knows how many. I'll keep at this. But it's been 1 hour, so have a nice day, and I'll see you again. Goodbye.